Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So I have been talking about the BRICS for a while. Specifically, if we go all the way back to 2022, when we started to see the big shift away from the US dollar really heating up because of the sanctions, that's when we started to really kind of pay attention to what the BRICS were doing. Now, if we go all the way back to March 5th of last year, we saw a big update. And that was just in BRICS to launch independent payment system based on cryptocurrency and blockchain. Now, ever since March of 2024, a lot has happened, especially around the US market when it does pertain to blockchain, crypto, and just the overall acceptance of crypto-based projects, more so companies in the US, right? So when we think about the environment right now, is very pro-crypto, pro-blockchain, pro-tech around crypto, and we continue to see the BRICS pushing forward with blockchain and DLT. And this is very important because, again, what the BRICS do, the US definitely watches. We're starting to see an accelerated push on crypto and on blockchain tech globally. And even over here, we did see some details revealed about this new payment system. Now, a lot of people were talking about BRICS Pay during that time. They were talking about, them, potentially utilizing XRP. Now, just, for everyone out there that is watching, they could use XRP. Nothing is stopping the BRICS or anyone from utilizing the XRP ledger and XRP. When it comes to Ripple payments or Ripple nets, if you will, or Ripple custody or any Ripple product, then it becomes a problem. Because again, with Ripple being a US-based company, they need to abide by sanction laws, which means they cannot be utilized within anything like this. But XRP and the XRPL 100% could be utilized. Now, do I think that XRP and the XRPL is being used in this new payment system? It's unknown. We don't have enough information to confirm it. We don't have enough information to deny it. We just know that a new payment system is rising within the BRICS, and it is going to be issued out utilizing cryptocurrency and blockchain. Now, on top of that, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because recently Brazil announced a bill that seeks to legalize the use of, and of course, a Bitcoin Maxi account saying Bitcoin, but it's actually crypto to pay salaries and benefits. We actually have over here the full breakdown. So Brazil is taking legislative steps to integrate cryptocurrencies into financial systems by proposing a bill that would legalize Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a payment method for salaries and labor benefits. Additionally, Brazil plans to advocate for the use of cryptocurrencies within the BRICS bloc for international trade, aiming to reduce reliance on the US dollar and enhance blockchain payment systems. And why wouldn't they? When we think about what the BRICS have already created, they have a blockchain-based payment system essentially ready for launch, in my opinion. So it would make sense for them to advocate for the use of crypto or blockchain around their payment system. Now, on top of that, a little bit more information over here. We have Brazil is set to put crypto on the agenda as it takes the helm of the BRICS bloc. Authorities are preparing proposals to consider cryptocurrency for international settlements among member countries, aiming to expedite transactions and reduce reliance on the dollar. Local media, O Globo, reports that this topic will be a priority under Brazil's presidency, succeeding Russia. While a common currency has been discussed, the focus is now on creating an efficient payment system using national currencies or stablecoins. President Donald Trump has opposed such moves, suggesting tariffs for BRICS countries moving away from the US dollar, because guess what? That's very smart. They're already moving away from the US dollar. We sanctioned them for well over 3 years now, so why not impose even more tariffs on them so that it pushes them and it actually accelerates their move against the US dollar? I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that tariffs are going to, completely sway their move against the dollar when for the last few years, what have we heard from, Russia? What have we heard from India? We've heard from all of these major players, even South, Africa leaders that told us, guess what? We are done using the dollar and we are done utilizing the US dollar backed system, aka SWIFT, because of the fact that for years and years and years, and when we're thinking about how many years, it's decades, they have been completely screwed over because of what the US has been doing. Specifically, a big problem, really kind of came to fruition back in 2008 when the collapse happened, because guess what ended up happening from that point on? The US tried to sweep the 2008 crisis under the rug by printing massive amounts of money, aka debt, to prop markets up. And they've been very successful with that so far, but the problem is that debt now is becoming extremely unsustainable, and the payments on the interest of that debt is getting to, almost breaking levels, which means something is going to break, and when that does happen, well, all of a sudden, things spiral out of control. But while we started to print massive amounts of debt, we also devalued almost every single fiat currency in the world and made a lot of these economically rough areas 10 times worse, which is why a lot of these other nations are done utilizing the US dollar or any US dollar backed system, in this case, SWIFT. But we also have Brazil could leverage systems like PIX, but concerns about regulatory standards and sovereignty remain. Russian officials have confirmed that BRICS is prioritizing this initiative, with discussions already underway. What do you think about the BRICS exploring crypto for international settlements? Now, we know that a lot of these BRICS nations are moving on a CBDC. In this case, it could definitely be stablecoins as well. We know stablecoins and CBDCs are basically the same exact thing. I've talked about this openly many times on the channel. If you guys do want, to hear my thoughts on that, I will definitely make an additional video outlining exactly what's going on with stablecoins and CBDCs. But regardless of that, we know Russia has been really kind of, pushing on a digital ruble. We know India has been moving pretty quick as well. All of these major players are now looking at, the new technology. They're looking at these new payment systems that could be created through this technology as well. And don't forget, by the way, that Brazil is actually launching a stablecoin on the XRP ledger. I mean, yeah, it doesn't get any more bullish than that. So it seems as though a lot of the connections to these BRICS nations have been piling up for years around XRP. But on top of that, right, we also have Russia flipping huge. And that was this announcement here from Russia. So we have Justin, Russia turns to crypto in oil deals with China and India, using Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins for oil trade with China and India to bypass sanctions. This is a massive move, and it shows you the big flip on Russia's side to really kind of go all in on crypto, regardless of the tariff threats or any threat against them. And we have here, Russia has started employing cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins like Tether in its oil trade with China and India. This move is seen as an attempt to circumvent Western sanctions, utilizing digital currencies for transactions valued at over $192 billion. And I think everyone should be aware that that is a massive amount when we think about stablecoins hitting about $220 billion in value. The adoption of such financial tools in international trade highlights a significant shift in global trade practices under economic restrictions. And just like this, right, it kind of goes back to the strategic reserve. We know that 21 countries are now considering a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and that is exactly because of the reasoning for the US also doing this. They want to get ahead of this. They know that the race is on. They know that the US did this, so they're quickly following in line. When it comes to Russia starting to look to crypto for oil deals, no matter what it is, right? Trade, it doesn't have to be oil, right? It could be any trade deal. Once these other nations see that, we're going to see a big wave flooding to utilize crypto in almost every single trade transaction. This is going to be very interesting to watch unfold, but also we have a big focus on stablecoins. Now, they are saying Tether here. I have a hard time believing that it is Tether. We'll have to watch, wait, and see, but it doesn't really matter, okay? The big focus here is what I just talked about the other day when it pertains to stablecoins. And it's actually very important that this is focused on because of oil deals. We I said this the other day, and I actually utilized a post from Subjective Views. I'm not going to play the clip because, again, I already included it in a recent video. But we have Stripe CEO draws parallels between stablecoins and the petrodollar as mechanisms that reinforce dollar dominance in global finance, because the petrodollar deal is what solidified the dollar's position and role as the dominant, currency globally. When the petrodollar deal is no longer a thing, which in my opinion it pretty much isn't, we look at the next big thing, which is the digital technology revolution happening. And we really look at stablecoins. Stablecoins could become that big key driver around dollar dominance to position it and ultimately solidify the dollar as the reserve currency globally and as the dominant currency globally as well. But the thing is that they need to get this right now, and they need to start pushing heavy on adopting and utilizing stablecoins at scale. And the best way to do this is by pushing for, regulations around this. And just recently, we know that the Genius Act has moved forward in a big way. And Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, of course, did highlight this. And he said stablecoin policy is on its way. Big thanks to, and he did outline everyone for their commitment with the Genius Act. Now, the individual that actually wrote this bill, aka Bill Haggerty, quoted Brad Garlinghouse, which is just wild, and said this was a broad effort to get this bill to its current form. I want to thank Chairman Scott, Senators also Brooks, Lummis, Gillibrand, Kim, Warner, he just names everyone, and all of my Republican colleagues for working with me on this. More improvements to come, but today was a historic day for stablecoin legislation. And what's even crazier about this, right, is we look at Tim Scott here in a lot bigger of a spotlight because of the fact that if we go back in time just a little bit, okay, here we have Brad meeting with all of these major senators and congressmen, and he met with Tim Scott. Tim Scott is one of the key players that he actually talked to. Ripple just launched a US dollar-backed stablecoin that's fully compliant, fully regulated, fully transparent. I mean, you actually can't make this stuff up. So when we think about what's going on here, would it be crazy to think that the US themselves, right, utilizing Congress, utilizing the new SEC, would it be crazy to assume that the US would accelerate stablecoin legislation, push to adopt and accept and utilize a stablecoin that was launched by a US crypto company, a private US crypto company, by the way, because you got to remember that Ripple is a private company at the end of the day, even though they're fully open and transparent. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And this would be a great way to counter what Russia is now doing at a time where it feels as if, yes, the race is on around crypto in a huge way, which is why we are starting to see countries starting to follow in line with what the US is doing. And why wouldn't the US start to look to utilize this technology as well if Russia, aka the big enemy, right? You always gotta fear Russia. Russia is the enemy. That's always been a thing, right? So when we think about Russia and China and all these nations moving forward on crypto, the US cannot miss. The US cannot overlook this. The US must act accordingly. And all of a sudden we have one big race. We have a tech race around crypto. It's the same exact thing over and over again that we've seen in history. We have seen these major races before when it comes to major revolutions. Just look at the internet for an example. Right? There was such a huge race on the internet to adopt and utilize it and become a leader in it. That's why Silicon Valley was such a big game changer for the US. In fact, it created massive amounts of jobs, economic growth, and also significant revenue for the US as well. So when we think about what's going on here, the US has to step on the gas. And the best way to do that is by utilizing US-based projects and companies that are already here that have been building for decades, aka we look at Ripple, right? We look at Ripple as a big one because they've been around for over a decade. They've been a big leader here. They have 500 plus institutions already signed up. It just feels very, very clear from my point of view. And with all of the moves being made here, I just think that this is something that will most likely happen over the next 12 24 months. We'll probably see an announcement between Ripple and the US government in a big way. And I know that that's a very big prediction, but in some way it kind of just feels like Ripple, being a private based US company, is already kind of working with the US. Why do you think Brad Garlinghouse and all of these major players from Ripple are always at the big table? If we go back to April of 2024, where you saw Lauren Beliv from Ripple sitting at a table with the Treasury Secretary, and they were talking about integration and implementation of stablecoins, CBDCs, and digital assets within the traditional US-based financial system. Again, the coincidences are not lining up here. I don't think that they're just coincidences. I think that this is a plan. I think that this is one big plan, because there's just far too many of these, events or these meetings or these discussions where Ripple is there in a huge way. And I just don't see how it's not leading us down a path to one big announcement. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.